Let's start with a simple question. Why do businesses exist? Most people will say to make money. But that's not true. Making money is a result. It's not the reason we start businesses. Think about it like this. What is the role of oxygen in life? It's essential. We need it to survive. But we don't wake up every morning with the sole purpose of breathing. We breathe so we can live. We live so we can do something meaningful. Money is the oxygen of business. Yes, it's necessary. Without it, a business cannot survive. But if survival is the only goal, then we've already lost sight of what matters. The actual role of money in business is to fuel something greater. It enables innovation. It supports growth. It allows us to invest in our people, to build better products, to serve our customers more deeply. Money gives us the power to sustain our why, our purpose. The greatest companies in the world didn't start with the goal of making a profit. They started with a mission, a belief, a cause worth committing to. The profit came because people believed in that cause. Customers felt it. Employees rallied around it, and money followed. But when money becomes the goal instead of the tool, we start making decisions based on fear and short-term gains. We cut corners. We exploit rather than serve. We lose trust, and ultimately we lose our way. So, what's the actual role of money in business? It's not to be the reason we exist. It's to empower why we exist. It's to sustain the journey, not define the destination. When we remember that, we build businesses that last, not just because they're profitable, but because they matter.
Most people believe that the primary reason a business exists is to make money. It's a common assumption, and on the surface it seems logical. Businesses sell products or services, they earn revenue, they generate profit. But this belief misses a fundamental truth. Money, while important, is not the purpose of a business. It's a result, a byproduct. Businesses that are driven solely by profit often struggle to inspire loyalty, build trust, or create lasting impact. That's because money alone isn't a compelling reason to exist. When we look at the businesses that truly thrive, the ones that lead industries, shape culture, and build passionate followings, they all have something in common. They stand for something greater than profit. They're driven by a mission, a cause, a belief. That's what draws people in. Customers don't form emotional connections with balance sheets. They connect with values, with a sense of purpose, with a feeling that a company believes in something bigger than just revenue. This doesn't mean money isn't important. Of course it is. A business must be financially healthy to grow, to pay its people, to invest in innovation. But if money becomes the reason a company exists, decision-making begins to shift. Choices start to revolve around short-term gains instead of long-term impact. The focus moves from value to volume, from relationships to transactions, and in that shift, something gets lost: authenticity. The best leaders in companies understand that making money is a measure of how well they're delivering on their purpose, not the purpose itself. When a business is clear about why it exists beyond profit, everything aligns. Employees become more engaged because they see their work as meaningful. Customers return because they feel understood and respected. Partners want to collaborate because they sense integrity. And yes, money follows. But it follows because the business is serving a deeper need, not because it's chasing dollars. A restaurant doesn't open just to collect payments. It opens to bring people together around food and experience. A tech company doesn't exist to inflate shareholder value. It exists to solve problems in smarter, better ways. The money that comes from these efforts is validation that the company is creating something people find valuable. But the moment the goal becomes profit alone, the business begins to feel hollow. So the truth is simple. Money is not the purpose. It is a consequence. A business exists to serve, to solve, to contribute. When it does that well, consistently, with heart and clarity, money comes, not as the reason, but as the result. And when we start from that understanding, we create businesses that don't just make a profit, they make a difference. Money plays a powerful role in business, but its true power lies in what it allows us to do, not in simply having it. When used with intention, money becomes fuel. It's the energy that powers purpose. It allows a business to move forward, to turn vision into reality, to bring ideas to life. Without money, even the most brilliant idea remains a concept. But with it, we gain the capacity to act, to innovate, grow, and make an impact that stretches far beyond the walls of the company. Consider what happens when a business starts to gain financial momentum. Suddenly, it can invest in better tools, hire great talent, expand operations, and improve customer experiences. It can take more thoughtful risks, explore new markets, and push boundaries. None of this is possible without the fuel that money provides. But the key is this: all of that progress has to be anchored to a meaningful purpose. Otherwise, money becomes a distraction instead of a driver. It leads to expansion for the sake of expansion rather than growth that's aligned with values. The best use of money in business is to deepen impact. For example, a company that values sustainability might use its profits to source ethical materials or reduce its carbon footprint. A company committed to people might use its financial strength to provide better employee benefits, training, or community programs. In every case, money acts as the enabler, not the end game. It empowers the business to live out its values and extend its reach. Money also provides resilience. It gives businesses the strength to withstand setbacks and uncertainty, economic downturns, supply chain disruptions, changing markets. These are all part of the landscape. With strong financial foundations, a business can stay the course even when the road gets rough. That stability means leaders can make thoughtful decisions under pressure instead of reactive ones driven by fear. When you're not gasping for oxygen, you can breathe, think, and lead more clearly. What's more, money allows a business to take care of the people who make it work. From fair wages to safe working conditions to professional growth opportunities, financial strength translates directly into human support. And people who feel supported give their best. They become more engaged, more creative, and more committed to the mission of the business. That kind of culture isn't just nice to have, it becomes a competitive advantage. Ultimately, money in business should never be treated as the reason why, but as the how. It's how we bring our vision to life. It's how we scale solutions, serve more customers, and create meaningful change. When leaders understand this, they stop chasing money and start channeling it. They see it not as a trophy to be won, but as a tool to build something that matters. In doing so, they create businesses that are not only profitable, but also purposeful, resilient, and truly impactful. When you look at the most successful and inspiring businesses in the world, there's a common thread that ties them together. They didn't start with the goal of making money. They began with a clear mission, a belief, a cause, a purpose that drove everything they did. That purpose became the foundation on which they built their products, their culture, and their connection with customers. Money followed, but it was never the starting point. This is a fundamental truth that often gets overlooked in a business environment obsessed with financial performance, but if you examine companies that truly last, companies that people trust and admire, you'll find that they were born from a deep desire to solve a problem, to challenge the status quo, or to make life better for others. This sense of mission is what gives a business its soul. It becomes the guiding light for every decision, every hire, every product, and every message to the market. It's what customers feel when they interact with the brand. It's what employees believe in when they come to work every day. People want to be part of something bigger than themselves, and a company with a strong purpose gives them that opportunity. That's why mission-driven businesses attract loyalty, not just from customers, but from teams, investors, and partners as well. It's important to understand that having a mission doesn't mean sacrificing profit. On the contrary, it often leads to greater financial success. When a business is built around a clear purpose, it creates alignment. It becomes easier to make consistent decisions. The brand voice becomes stronger and more authentic. People are more willing to advocate for it because they believe in what it stands for. And that kind of belief translates into long-term value. Customers who feel emotionally connected to a company stay longer, spend more, and refer others. Employees who believe in the mission give their best effort, take ownership, and stay committed during tough times. Companies like this don't need to constantly compete on price or outspend others on advertising. Their mission becomes their magnet. It pulls the right people in, it filters out what doesn't fit, and over time it creates a reputation that no marketing budget can buy. In contrast, companies that focus only on profit might find short-term wins, but they struggle to build lasting trust. Their actions feel hollow, their promises sound forced, and eventually people see through it. A mission-driven business is built to endure. It has a reason to exist beyond this quarter or the next fiscal year. It adapts and evolves, but always stays anchored to its core purpose. Money may come in waves, but the mission provides stability. It reminds everyone why they started in the first place. And in the end, it's this sense of why that turns a company from just another business into something truly meaningful. A force that inspires, leads, and leaves a lasting mark on the world. When businesses place money at the center of every decision, something subtle but dangerous begins to happen. The focus shifts from creating value to maximizing extraction, from building relationships to driving transactions. When profit becomes the only metric that matters, the soul of the business begins to erode. Decisions become short-sighted, driven by quarterly results instead of long-term impact. Cost-cutting overtakes craftsmanship, efficiency replaces empathy, and soon the business starts to feel like a machine, cold, calculated, and disconnected from the people it's meant to serve. This isn't just a moral argument, it's a practical one. Businesses that chase only profit often lose sight of the very things that generate it in the first place: trust, loyalty, and a strong reputation. These are built slowly, over time, through consistent action and care. But when money is the only goal, it's easy to sacrifice these intangibles in the name of short-term gains. A company might lay off experienced employees to boost earnings. It might compromise on quality to cut costs. It might pressure customers into buying things they don't need just to hit sales targets. In the moment, these choices may seem justified, but over time, they chip away at credibility. Customers are not blind to this. They can sense when a company sees them as dollar signs instead of people. And once trust is broken, it's incredibly hard to rebuild. A bad experience travels fast in today's world. Reviews, social media, word of mouth. One misstep, driven by the wrong priorities, can undo years of hard work. On the flip side, companies that prioritize doing the right thing, even when it costs more in the short term, tend to build deeper loyalty. People want to support brands that treat them with respect and honesty. The same applies internally. When profit is king, employee well-being often takes a back seat. Workloads increase, culture suffers, and people burn out. Talented individuals leave because they no longer feel seen or valued. That kind of turnover is expensive, not just in dollars, but in energy, morale, and continuity. A company might save money by squeezing its people, but in the long run, it loses something far more valuable: commitment. Ironically, the relentless pursuit of profit often leads to its decline. A business that forgets its purpose and people becomes fragile. It may look strong on paper, but it lacks the depth and resilience needed to navigate real challenges. In contrast, businesses that stay true to their values, even when it's hard, earn the kind of loyalty and goodwill that money can't buy. They weather storms better, they recover faster, and they last longer. So while money is essential, it should never be the compass. It should be a measure, not the mission. When leaders prioritize meaning over margins, people over profits, and purpose over pressure, they build businesses that succeed not just in numbers, but in impact. And in doing so, they create something that truly lasts. In business, it's easy to get caught up in numbers: revenue, profit, market share. These metrics matter, of course, but they are not the ultimate destination. Money is not the purpose of a business. It is the support system that keeps the mission alive. When we treat money as the destination, we start to measure success in a way that misses the point. But when we see money as the fuel that sustains our journey, we stay focused on what really matters: the reason we started in the first place. Businesses that thrive over time are rooted in a clear sense of purpose. They understand why they exist beyond just making a profit. That purpose becomes the North Star, guiding every action and decision. Money plays a vital role, but it is always in service of that larger mission. It enables a business to operate, to grow, and to reach more people. It provides the means to invest in people, tools, technology, and ideas, but it never replaces the purpose. It simply sustains it. This mindset brings clarity in moments of uncertainty. When challenges arise, as they inevitably do, businesses with purpose can navigate them with greater focus and integrity. They don't panic at every dip in revenue because their success isn't defined solely by financial results. Instead, they ask, are we still living our values? Are we still creating real value for the people we serve? This sense of direction allows them to stay steady while others scramble. It gives them the resilience to make tough decisions without compromising who they are. When money becomes the focus, decisions tend to become reactive and disconnected from values. A company might cut essential programs, compromise on quality, or shift away from what made it unique, all in the name of hitting financial targets. These choices may generate short-term wins, but they erode the foundation over time. The identity of the business starts to blur. People, both inside and outside the organization, notice the shift. What was once a brand people believed in becomes just another player chasing profit. The energy changes, the trust fades. But when money is understood as a means to an end, everything aligns. Investments are made not just for return, but for impact. Growth is pursued not just for scale, but for service. People are hired not just to fill roles, but to advance the mission. Every financial decision is evaluated through the lens of purpose. Does this help us do what we're here to do? That question becomes the filter that keeps a business true to itself. Ultimately, the role of money in business is to keep the mission alive, to give it breath, movement, and reach. It allows the business to grow without losing its soul. It allows leaders to dream bigger without drifting off course. And when used with care and clarity, money becomes a powerful tool, not just for surviving, but for building something meaningful, lasting, and worthy of people's trust.